Happy Easter Monday, folks. I hope you've had an awesome Easter. Of course, man, these Easters just tend to fly by just like that. Every year they get faster and faster. Needless to say, I hope you guys have had an absolute cracker of an Easter. And of course, we've got our good old strength session today to help you work off those Easter calories that you may have consumed over that little period. So guys, today you will need a chair, nice and sturdy. You'll need your training bag, nice and securely done up and all that. Remember, the more bags you have, the more weight you can put in that bag. And also too, today, we want a nice little 40 centimeter square. So grab yourself some masking tape, some low tack stuff. That way you can put it down on the floor, down on the carpet, and it comes up nice and easy. I use the blue stuff because it's really, low, as I said, low tack, and it rips up nice and easy, so you can rip and tear and do all kinds of stuff with it to make it work nice and easy. 40 centimeters is what you want, basically to replicate some good old ladder work and to jump around and get that heart rate up and all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, guys, we've got a great little session for you today. Let's get into it. Getting into our dynamic mobility, we're going to start out just marching on the spot. Just nice tall marching. Nice high knee. Working for a set of 20 to begin with. Just be mindful of that posture as we're marching on the spot, so we're not collapsing down and we're not leaning back. Just a nice, purposeful march for 20 steps. As soon as we hit that 20th step, draw the knee up into the chest, continuing that strong postural line as I stand up nice and tall. Drawing the knee up, holding for just a second before we put that foot back down again. Working for a set of 5 per side, 10 total. Then widen up the stance and we're going to reach out and pivot. Extending out with the hand and the shoulder as we turn the whole body with the hips. Remember, you don't want to chase the hand and reach this way. You want to keep nice and tall, rotating around that central axis. Once we finish our reaches, nice wide stance still, reaching down to touch the foot for some windmills, pushing back into the hips, standing tall between each rep, working for a set of 20 here, 10 per side. Remember, as we do our windmills, we want to push the hips back as opposed to rounding down. So chest up once again, reaching back, working for 20 reps. From there, guys, continuing that reach theme, we step back, extending out, left foot back, left hand up, right foot back, right hand up. Extending out, reaching to the sky, 10 steps, 5 per side, actively lengthening and reaching to the roof or the ceiling. 10 steps once again before we head down to the ground. So we want to set up hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, working into some cat-cows, so pushing out, collapsing down, looking up. Remember, keep the elbows straight and locked the whole time as I push out and collapse down. So from the side, we're pushing the ground away, arching up as high as we can, then we're squeezing the shoulder blades together as we collapse down, looking up, pushing out, rounding down, working for a set of 10 reps before we stabilize the body, hips and shoulders, nice strong line, head to hip once again, and we're extending out into bird dogs, stabilizing the body as we go, reaching that hand and the foot out in opposite directions. As I push out with my foot, lead with the heel, not the toe. Cool? So reaching opposites, left hand, right foot, right hand, left foot, working for a set of 20 here. As soon as we hit that 20th rep, we're going to move into some what's called the good old world's greatest stretch, but we know it as our wide climbers. So we're going to be stepping in, we add the rock back, and then we rotate towards that leg at the front. Cool. For those that struggle with this, just keep that knee on the ground at the back as you go. Cool. So remember, if I've got my left leg in front, my left hand turns. Cool. So then we change it, stepping through the right leg this time, rocking back to lift the toes to straighten that leg, then we turn towards with that leg flat on the ground. So a little combo move, stepping, rocking, and reaching. Working 5 per side, 10 total. Rocking back, reaching up, nice and high. From there, guys, we're gonna work into our good old downward dogs. So we're just turning to the side, or just staying on there. I'm gonna turn to the side. Nice, tall push-up position, pushing back into the palms, flattening out. 2-second hold before we lower down, pushing through, lifting up tall. We're going for 5 reps here. Pushing back, driving those hips up, heels down, chest down as well. Lowering to the ground, sliding it through, lifting up tall at the front. You want 5 reps in total, 2-second holds once again. Remember to breathe as we work our downward dog. Flattening out, then lowering down, lifting up nice and tall at the front. Next up, guys, we want to move into a nice deep squat. So keeping the feet flat on the ground. From there, we place our hands down, we lift the hips as high as we can go. We sink back down, then push that left arm into the inside of that left knee, and then we rotate to the right. Opposite side, pushing the right into the right, reaching that left. Then we lift up tall again, sinking back down, reach and rotate, reach and rotate. Lifting tall, rotate, and rotate. Nice. When we finish our good old little squat combo there, we're going to move into some walkouts with a lateral lunge. So I'll just turn sideways on so I don't go off shot. So with our walkouts, we're walking it out into that high plank position, but we're going to see, I'll move back a bit more, how far we can take it, keeping those hips steady. As I walk it back, I move back into deep squat, and then I perform a lateral lunge and lateral lunge. Cool. For those that struggle with their stepping out to the side, just work a weight shift from side to side. Cool. But then you'll move back down into deep squat, walk it out, walk it back, lateral lunge for a set of 10. So if you can, guys, as we walk it out, I'll try and set up so I don't go out of shot. Walk it out as far as you can, keep those hips steady. So if it means if you can get into your fingertips, awesome. Or just go as far as you can manage, but make sure the hips don't sag and drop down here. We want to keep the hips up nice and strong as we walk out with that walkout. Cool? Set of 10 of that, and then we'll move into our activation set. In our activation set today, folks, we've got 3 exercises for 3 rounds, and we're going to be doing 5 reps of each of these exercises. Guys, we've done this one before. We're doing our wall squats to begin with. So what I'd like you to do is find yourself a bit of wall at home where you're free to move, where you're not going to run into anything, and you can get up nice and close with that wall. When we set up for our wall squat, ideally we want to get in as close as we can. Right in close, of course, don't bang the head or bruise your nose on that wall. From here, we want to squat down as deep as we can go, staying in nice and tight, working nice and slowly, pushing those knees out, staying up nice and tall. Guys, if you find that a bit of a struggle, start a little further out. What you might want to try is start about a foot length out from the wall. Cool? So you start with a foot length, set up in your squat stance, and from there it's like, oh, that's kind of easy. So then you just shuffle in a little bit. Bring it in half a foot length. Cool? Give it a shot. Ideally, you want to find how close. You want to get in right on the wall, because what that does is it makes you sit back. It makes you sit really nice and upright. One of the biggest issues we have when we squat is we tend to hang out over our toes. We get in the balls of our feet and we lean into our squat out this way. Cool? We really want to focus on trying to stay sitting back and staying upright as much as possible, which is what the wall squat helps us with. Also, what this does is it forces us, it creates what we call a self-limiting exercise, where we've got no choice but to push those knees out, because if the knees come in or collapse in, they hit the wall. So this creates nice upright posture and it forces those knees apart. So really, when you do this, nice and steady, don't rush it, setting up as close as you can, sitting down, in, staying nice and close to the wall, arms out nice and wide, sinking into a nice slow 5 reps of your wall squat. Cool? Second up, we've got some bag drags. So guys, the way we're gonna set this up is placing the bag over to one side, we set up in the top of that push-up position. Hold a nice strong high plank, a reach under, pull the bag across, stabilize, pull the bag across. So as I pull, I don't want to drop and twist as I go. For our beginners, working on the knees, but I want you to lock the hips out. So then from the knees, we keep this strong butt locked position. We don't want to be lazy through the hips. We don't want to bend hip as we drag. Push those hips forward, anchor the hand underneath the shoulder, pulling across. But for our regular members, lock out nice and tight, pull that bag through. It's 5 per side or 10 total for that one. Last of all, folks, move your bag just to the side, setting up for some pop squats. Pop squats, we go in a nice wide stance, shoot the arms out, pop, drop. Hands together, hands in front. Together, front. So we're just touching our thighs as we pop into the center, bring those legs, then we drop and hold. Pop, drop. Pop, drop. Pausing for that split second before we move into that next rep. Going for a set of 5. So once again, guys, wall squats for a set of 5, bag drags for a set of 5 per side, and our pop squats for a set of 5 as well. Just remember with the pop squat, it's 1, 2. That's how you count your pop squat. Give that a shot, guys, and we'll get into our strength set next. Strength-wise today, folks, we're going to be working a squat combo, some plank rows, and some chair dips in our main set. We're going to be doing 4 rounds. Basically, our squat combo, we're going to be doing 12 reps and then 10 for everything else. Anyway, I'll go over what our little exercises are now. So what we'll need is our chair and our good old training bag. With our squat combo, basically we're going to be doing some regular front squats with some shoulder squats thrown into the mix. So the way this is going to work, guys, is we grab our bag, we hold it up on the chest, and then from there, clutching in nice and tight, practicing those things that we just did in our activation set. Elbows high, we squat nice and steadily for 4 reps, keeping those elbows nice and high as I squat. As soon as I hit that 4th rep, which I think is this one, nice, we place that bag on the shoulder, bracing and holding. Another 4 reps. 3, staying nice and tall, 4. Then last of all, over onto the other side. Last set of 4 reps, making it 12 reps in total. Just remember, guys, as we're working our squat, staying as upright as we can, practicing that same thing that we just did with our wall squats. Nice tall posture as we go. Set of 12. 4 front, 4 on the shoulder, 4 on the shoulder. Second exercise, guys, setting up for some plank rows. So when we set up for plank row, we bring the chair in, place the hands on the seat of the chair, and we set up like we're going to do a push-up on that chair. Hands underneath the shoulders. Then with our bag, we bring that bag in, grabbing by the handles. We brace and draw that bag down and to the hip. Cool? So pretty much just moving in a nice straight line, bracing and holding. Just be mindful that you need to be connected from the ground up. You can't just place all that weight on that hand at the front, because then that makes the legs lazy. If the legs are lazy, they'll bend and twist and you'll lose your stability. So legs locked and active, nice strong hip. We pull that bag into the hip, 10 on one side before we change it up to the other side. Now for our beginners, if that's too hard, what I'd like you to do is actually place the knee bent or Bend your knee. From there, we're looking to try to get that back line parallel with the floor. So I lean forwards a little bit more. I bring the feet in closer just to reduce that lever with the body, making it a little bit easier in terms of the demand on the core. Cool, so holding nice and tight in that position. We draw the same movement, or we create that same movement, pulling down and back towards the hip, or I guess you could almost say in towards the belly button a little bit in that position. Whereas in the plank row position, we've got a little bit more space in the hip to bring it down and into that hip pocket. Cool? Once again, beginners, you'll be doing a set of 10 per side with that slightly different variation of our plank row. It's more of a supported row. Last of all, guys, we're going to be doing some chair dips. So I'll give you a couple of versions to this. First version, of course, is the straight leg version. So legs are nice and straight, bend in the hip. We keep our back close to the chair, hands basically so our fingers are facing in the direction that we're facing. And from there, we lower ourselves down, keeping the legs nice and straight. We want to keep that back in nice and close. Drawing down so we have a nice 90-degree bend in the elbow, lifting up tall at the top. Down and lifting up tall. Beginners wise, I want you to bend the knees. So then it just, once again, reduces that lever, less body weight on those arms, and you can use those legs a little bit to help by driving those heels into the ground to assist. So exercises wise, you've got your squat combo, 12 reps, or 4 in the front, 4 on the shoulder, 4 on the shoulder. You've got your plank rows, working on the chair with your bag, working 10 per side. And then last of all, your chair dips for 10. You've got that straight leg variety, or you've got that easier bent knee variety. 4 rounds to do, guys, before we move into our conditioning set. Next up, folks, we've got a conditioning AMRAP. Beginners, you guys are going to be working for 9 minutes, and our regular members, we're going to be working for 14 minutes. Now, what we have is as many rounds as possible of 3 exercises plus a 30-second rest period at the end of those 3 exercises. So I guess you could kind of think of it as a 4-station little round circuit that we're going to be doing. Exercises wise, we've got a clock lunge, we've got Russian twists, and we've got our good old cross 8s, and I'll go over the details of these. Now, our clock lunges, basically we work our way around like in 360 degrees, like we're working around the points on a clock. So we start out with our feet inside our square, we step forwards on the right leg, into a forwards lunge. Remember, nice vertical shin as we go. We don't want to step too short and push that knee too far forwards, and we don't want to step too far. So we step onto the right leg, then we move onto the left leg. That's our point 1. Then we step out to the side on a diagonal, stepping out, basically in that line of our square. Cool? Working our way around the different points of the clock. Then we step out to the side in a lateral lunge, keeping that chest up, out to the side. Once we're stepping out to the side, we then curtsy, kick our leg back and keep that shin nice and vertical at the front. Step back onto the other side before we finish up with a reverse lunge, keeping that shin nice and vertical inside the square. Once we get to that point at the back, then we just repeat. We go curtsy lunge to the side, kick that foot across. We go to the side, lateral lunge. We go out on a diagonal, then finish up forwards and forwards. Cool? So we're working our way around that clock. We go from forwards, diagonal, lateral, curtsy, reverse, back into curtsy, back into side, diagonal, back into the front. Cool? I'll go over that one more time at the end just to help you guys out if you're a little bit confused. But that is 1 rep, you're only doing 1 of those. As soon as we finish that, we move into Russian twists. So with our Russian twists, this is where we do have the option of using a bag here. Now I'm going to set up on the side so I don't go out of shot. So guys, we treat the floor as lava. we lean back and we keep the feet nice and elevated. Cool, so we're leaning back on about a 45-degree angle. When we're in this position, don't allow the back to round here. I want to stay as tall as I can. And from here, I just butterfly my thumbs together, reaching down to touch the ground, touch the ground, touch the ground, touch the ground. We're working 16, 8 per side. Turn, keep that chest up so we're not just collapsing down, reaching behind the hip each time. Now, if we want to up the ante, this is where the bag can come in. I grab my bag, scruffing it, I reach down, touch the ground, leaning back, chest up, as I work from the side of the hip, from one side to the other, staying in that 45-degree position. If you start to really struggle, drop those heels down to the ground, which just takes a percentage of, I guess, activation away from the core to make it that little bit easier. Cool, so heels on the ground for an easier version, but I still want that chest up, working from side to side. Use the bag to really take that Russian twist to the next level. 16, 1, 2, 3 for 16. Last of all, guys, kick that bag over to the side. We've got what I call cross 8s. It's basically like our cross 1, 2. So starting on the side, we cross 1, 2, cross 1, 2. So the way this works is it's like a figure 8. I start over on the side, this is my starting point. I step outside foot, cross, 1, 2. Then I jump back, 1, 2. Cross, 1, 2. Back to the start. That's 1. So cross, 1, 2, 1, 2, cross, 1, 2, 1, 2. Cross, 1, 2, 1, 2, cross, 1, 2, 1, 2. Whenever you get back to that start position, that's 1 rep. So we've got 8 reps of that to do. Slowing it right down to make it nice and easy. Remember, outside foot crosses. We'd work on diagonals. 1, 2, then I go back. 1, 2. Cross. 1, 2. Back. 1, 2. Back to the start. Sped up. Cross. 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 Working in that figure 8 pattern as I go. Once again, 8 reps. As soon as you finish that 8 reps, we've got 30 seconds off. Cool? So get your timer going, 9 or 14 minutes. And when you get to that point, once you've done that, you've done your clock lunge, you've done your Russian twists, and you've done your cross 8s, rest for 30 seconds, looking at the clock. As soon as that 30-second finishes, we're bang on again. So we want to work nice and consistently, nice and fast to see how many reps we can get, but you've always got that 30 seconds to reprieve, a little 30 seconds of reprieve, rest for a second before we get back into that little set. So that 30 seconds, non-negotiable. You've always got that in there, and then you're trying to move as fast as you can through those other exercises. Make sense? Nice work, guys. Give that a shot and let us know how many rounds that you guys can punch out in either 9 or that 14-minute period. Last up, we'll have a little stretch to finish. Guys, grab yourself a towel, or you can use a cushion, but we're going to be working a bit of a quad and hip flexor stretch. So if you need to, use a towel or a cushion to place underneath the knee. I'm going to use a towel and I'm going to double it over. Just placing it on the ground. I'm going to drop my knee onto that towel, placing my foot in front. In this case, it's my right leg. And then from there, I push my hips down and forwards. As I do so, I want to squeeze that butt cheek at the back, and I want to keep that rib cage down. I don't want to sink in and just arch the back here. So abs on, pushing forwards. If you want a bit more stretch, just bring that foot forward a bit more to open up those hips. Nice and steady. Nice big breathing, 30 seconds. Then we're going to reach down, placing. So if my right leg is in front, right hand goes to the inside of that knee, and then I turn and pivot the opposite direction. So I'm pushing that knee away and I'm turning as far as I can go, all the while sinking into that stretch, holding for a further 30 seconds. Remember to breathe, looking back as far as we can go. To change it up, we just switch the legs, Pushing that hip in, leaning into that stretch. Forwards I go. Squeeze the butt at the back, chest up, chin up. Making sure that those abs stay on, pulling that rib cage down. 30 seconds before we push the knee away. Pivot and turn. 30-second hold. Breathe and relax as much as possible. Once we finish there, folks, we're going to take a seat. Lying on our back, we'll use our little towel, stretch out those hammies a little bit. So, lying back on the ground, we're going to place that towel around the middle of my foot. Other leg I want flat on the ground, hip down. I want to pull that leg towards my chest. Try to keep that knee as straight as you can. Lie back and draw that foot towards the body. Holding strong in that position and breathing. 30-second hold. Then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the knee to the side, and then you're going to pull that towel and foot towards the chest. In this position, we can push that knee away with my elbow, and I'm drawing that foot as far towards my chest and face as I can. Relax and breathe into the stretch. This one you can start to really feel for those that are quite tight through the hips. Holding on 30 seconds before we change it over to the other side, placing the towel around the foot, and then from there just drawing that foot towards the body. Relaxing into the stretch, we want to hold that for 30 seconds. Before we turn the knee outwards, pull the foot towards the chest, and at the same time you can kind of push that knee away with the elbow. Drawing in. Try and get it down nice and close. Lying back, keeping the head on the ground. Breathe, 30-second hold. Before we release, place the towel over to the side, and then we're going to kick out nice and wide. Nice wide position. From there, leaning in as we grab the foot, pulling it back. Nice relaxed breathing, trying to get that chest down towards the knee. 30-second hold before we head over to the other side for 30 seconds. Stretching it out. Of course, remember to keep your watch handy so you're actually timing. I'm doing this a little bit quicker just so you can get through and you know what the stretches that you need to do. But remember, just keep an eye on that time so you're actually doing your stretches for a solid 30 seconds each time. Once we finish on that side, leaning into the front, trying to get that chest down as close to the ground as we can. Breathe and relax as we sink into the stretch. To finish up, sitting nice and tall, we want to push down on the elbow, lifting that chest, pushing down. We want to see how far we can get that hand down the spine. Breathe and relax. Then changing it up, other side, 30 seconds on the other side. Sitting as tall as we can. 30-second hold. And then, of course, you can make your way up to your feet. Nice work, folks. Hope you guys are feeling good, doing awesome. Of course, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us. And, of course, we've got some great little surprises and stuff coming up this week. So keep your eyes glued to our little online channel here. And, of course, hope you have a cracking week. And we'll get into our next session very, very soon. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you next time.